All right. All right, let's get started. Thank you all for joining us today for Earnshaw's Coffee and Conversation webinar. Perhaps some time zones have already switched over to cocktails, and that's fine too. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Emily Beckman. I'm the editor-in-chief at Earnshaws magazine. I'll be moderating today's discussion, which will unpack some of the challenges that our industry specifically is tackling amid this global pandemic. We have three wonderful retailers who will be kicking off the discussion today. I'll have them introduce themselves in a moment. But first, I want to thank our sponsor, Appaman. We have co-founder Lynn Hussam with us today. She'll be fielding any questions or concerns that come up about life and business from a brand's perspective. So Lynn, I'll let you introduce the brand a bit.
Hi, I'm Lynn Hussam, and my husband and I started Appaman back in 2003. So we've been around for quite a while and seen, different trends in the industry. And but we do boys and girls soup to nuts. We do sportswear, outerwear, fine tailoring for both boys and girls. And we're real passionate about the industry, and really our hearts go out to everybody. We're all in this together, truly. And so it's nice to see us coming together as one.
I want to say I really enjoyed your email yesterday with the Zoom backgrounds for kids to download for homeschooling. I thought that was very creative.
Thanks.
So now we'll turn it over to our panelists. We have three panelists from across the country. Let's start with you, Bridget. You can introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Bridget Stickline. I'm in Maryland. I've been in the children's industry for 11 years. I have two store locations, one in Lutherville, Maryland, and one in Fairfax in Northern Virginia. We have been closed in both markets since mid-March, like I'm sure many of you, and eager to kind of discuss what everyone's doing and how we're getting creative to keep our businesses going and our concepts alive.
All right, how about you, Jennifer?
Hi, Jennifer Atkins. I'm in New Orleans. I've had some presence on Magazine Street for about 16, 17 years. I sold Appaman at my old children's store. Love the line, have lots of cute pictures of my boys in it. I have both women's and children's now on Magazine, again, mid-March. And it's festival season in New Orleans. And so it's heartbreaking to think of what could be happening right now. So trying to look at the sunny side and enjoy my three teenagers, much to their chagrin. But looking forward to today and hopefully giving a little input and definitely hearing some input from all these great retailers and businesses.
Fabulous. All right, and last but not least, Sheila.
Hi, I'm Sheila Garcia. I'm out here in California, in Long Beach, California. We have a store called Sweet Threads. I've been in business for 8 years and 7 years as a brick and mortar. We started off selling out of a VW bus at flea markets, and then moved on to the brick and mortar. And I'm honored to be here with all of you and excited to talk about our experiences and to learn more about what you guys are going through as well.
Great. So I just want to give a general overview next. This slide here is just an overview of topics we'll be touching on today. We'll start with the initial impact when we really realized this was going to change our lives drastically. This will lead us into some of the challenges retailers have been facing, some of which they are still facing. Others they've worked extremely hard to overcome. I've talked to a few people who have launched an e-commerce site in 3 days, which is incredible. That takes a lot of coffee, so kudos to you. And then we're going to move on to some discoveries that retailers have learned about themselves and their capabilities during this tough time. This has led to impressive amounts of creativity, heartwarming community efforts, and some new skill sets, which will probably carry on past, when the dust settles from this pandemic. And then we will ultimately end the discussion with the million-dollar question of what's next, right? So everybody wants to know what should retailers be thinking about in terms of when they're reopening? Will there be a need to change the organization of their store? Will people still want to try on merchandise, etc.? So without further ado, let's go to the beginning, the initial impact, that first week. So let's start with Jennifer. How did you react initially?
Well, it was just after Mardi Gras. I was ill the next week, very ill, bounced back, was back to work for a day. And then my husband came in from an international trip, was also sick. I mean, I think we were probably in that number. It was pretty devastating to think about shuttering and seemed pretty final at that moment. I think I'm still sort of coasting from there. So, but we immediately started working on the website, and you know, we have a really strong Instagram presence, and depending on that, friends and neighbors.
Right. So in the first 2 or 3 days, you immediately started ramping up Instagram and website efforts. How about you, Sheila?
Same thing. I think it was after, you know, the travel ban was announced and after Disneyland decided to close, we decided to also close mid-March. For me, I personally have an autoimmune disease, and you know, it wasn't only about our health, but we were concerned about our community's health, and I would have hated to be a reason why someone, you know, came into our store and got sick. So I thought health over, you know, being open was more important.
Right, right. That's a really tough choice. How about you, Bridget?
Similar timeline. So middle of March, we went to appointment only. So we're seeing one client at a time, sanitizing the store between clients. And then March 23rd, Maryland and Virginia both closed non-essential businesses. As soon as we saw this coming, we started ramping the web. We weren't quite 3 days, but we got our website up in 8, from 0 to full commerce, which has been a bit of, you know, I have to air quote lifesaver, because it's not nearly the business we would be doing if our doors were open, but we're at least selling some product. We made a lot of Easter baskets. We are a really high touch environment, and our relationships with our clients really benefited us going into Easter. We started working the phones. You know, you're stuck in the house, you need an Easter basket, we'll build it for you. So we did a lot of that leading up to through the first 2 weeks of April. But I think back to those early days, we were hearing about this and saying things like, if we lose Easter week, I'm going to freak out.
Right. Exactly. How about you, Lynn?
We are, probably closed for
I think Bridget's video is lagging a little bit.
months, maybe.
Oh, okay. I think we had a little bit of a technical difficulty. Bridget's video is lagging a bit. But Lynn, I want to pass it over to you for a moment. What were your communications with your brand or your retailers around mid-March?
Well, we've been in constant conversation with a majority of our retailers. We've been reaching out through emails and calling, and just doing whatever we can. We feel like it's super important to have communication and to make sure that everybody realizes that we want them to survive as much as we want ourselves to survive. And so we're just trying to come to compromises and work through any invoices that are due or any pending orders that people are wanting now or later. We're being extremely flexible to try and help everybody do what they can in this moment. But, we have to get through this together because we're so much better together. And it's just, so we're trying to be there and, just open up our hearts to however we can and work with the vendors, however they need.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that that's what's so inspiring about this webinar. We're going to talk about some of these challenges that we've been facing and how we're working to overcome them or cope with them. So let's start with you, Bridget. What are some challenges that your store faced off the bat and that you're still working through right now?
I mean, I think the biggest challenge is the obvious one, right? No income.
Doors closed, right?
how do you keep your teams paid? How do you keep your rent paid? You know, similar to what Lynn said, we started to work the phones, let everybody know that, you know, we need more time to pay bills. We need, you know, rent deferments. And so far have been, you know, everybody's been really willing to work with us, and, you know, we're able to keep our cash in reserve to take care of the day-to-day things that have to be paid. And, you know, obviously the concern about that is we're kicking a really big can down the road, and none of us know when the doors open, what that's going to look like. So I think that's my greatest concern now, is what to do about resources and making sure we can recapitalize when we're open again.
Right. How about you, Jennifer? Similar experience?
Yes. Well, we've had a website all along that has been entirely neglected. So I had to become an expert at doing that really quickly. What you pulled off, Bridget, is really impressive. I am far behind you, but kudos. A big shocker has been being a one-woman show. I depend on my girls so heavily for support. My manager's been with me for 13 years now. She's about to have a baby through all this. So I was trying to gear up to have life without her, but to kind of have everyone go, and I'm in there day in, day out by myself. It's hard to keep the smile up and the frown gone.
Absolutely. And that's scary. So many people having babies at this time. That just is another level of emotions on top of this, for sure. Sheila, how about you? What were some challenges at the start?
It's the same as, you know, most of us, you know, we're with having to cut back staff hours. You know, you're a one-woman show. From, you know, taking orders, shipping them, adding things online, merchandising, or at least visual merchandising. So email campaigns, social media, just keeping up with the day-to-day, and not, you know, beating yourself up for not getting everything done. Obviously, you know, you're trying to get the consistent sales that you need, but I think with just having a positive outlook and attitude, you know, that brings hope.
Right.
With hope, I really believe that you can conquer a lot of things.
Any tips for managing, you know, prioritizing these things? Any, you know, early mistakes that you made that you learned from in terms of getting through this day-to-day lifestyle that we're all living right now?
I think I could do a better job of time management. You know, not only do I have the store, but, you know, I have a 3-year-old son at home. Both my husband and I work, and he's been working from home. So just really trying to get on a strict schedule, I would say, but I don't really feel like I've made any mistakes. You know, this is a new territory that everyone's going through. I don't think there's anyone in our lifetime that's, you know, experienced anything like this. So, you know, just taking it day by day and tackling what you can and controlling, you know, just worrying about the things that you can control and don't worry about the things you can't. It's just, you know, maybe not stress so much is a mistake that I would recommend.
Do anyone else have any, maybe we shouldn't say mistakes, but just some ways of prioritizing your day or ways of going about the day that has changed from, you know, when you had the doors open, and, you know, how that's improved as we get through this day by day?
I think, Emily, you know, one of the things I realized in doing this, oops, sorry.
Okay.
Can you see me? There we go.
Yep.
Is, you know, it's my way to kind of put my head down and solve the problem. And I really had to have a moment where I said, like, we're all allowed to grieve this a little bit, right? Like, this is our concepts. These are our people that have helped us build our businesses, the clients that we love to see all the time, the kids we've been watching grow up. So I think it's important to remember to give yourself a minute to kind of grieve that. And if you feel sad, if you feel depressed, that's kind of okay sometimes, and you can't wallow in it too long. I have a good retailer friend, and we kind of both said to each other, we're gonna give it 24 hours, you know, and allow ourselves to kind of be exactly where we are and really feel this. And then tomorrow we'll get up and, you know, put our boots back on and go out and fight. I think it's important to remember to do that and give yourself that time, as opposed to only just pushing forward, because it's going to catch up. You have to do it sooner or later.
Right. How do you
I
feel
feel like
about
I kind of have a unique perspective, being a post-Katrina person, and thinking that you've lost your city and your livelihood and everything that's familiar to you, whether it be your daily schedule or whatever. But, you know, I have seen and witnessed New Orleans come from the ashes and be better than ever. So I think I have a little stream of
oh, your video froze.
Challenges of Zoom.
Challenges of Zoom. The whole world is on it right now, so bear with us. All right, we'll see if she comes. Oh, your video froze for a bit, Jennifer. I don't know if you want to backtrack.
just saying that, you know, I do have hope for the future, basically. That after Katrina, nobody could have ever told me that we would be back and having great business and be better than before. And we did end up that way. So, you know, here's to us all ending up in a much better place in a few years.
Absolutely.
Or sooner.
And how about from a brand's perspective, Lynn? Do you want to weigh in on this a little bit?
I mean, early on, I did a seminar. It was like a leadership seminar and kind of how to lead during these kind of times. And I was just hoping to get something out of it. And the thing that I took away that has been so helpful is this idea that the continuity of communication far outweighs the continuity of content. And it's just all about like having consistent communication will just like lead the way. And we have found with our company that we do daily check-ins. We have office hours once a day where anybody can come and they can talk about what they're watching or what they're eating, and just keeping that like sense of community alive. And it has been so wonderful. And I feel like our team at Opamon is so gelled and so close, and we're kind of understanding each other on such a different level because we're seeing inside of each other's homes, and we're meeting as someone's kid always jumps on a Zoom when we're having it. And it's been like really beautiful, like to see this kind of interaction. And I know we'll all come out of this better humans. You know, it's hard to say what will happen business wise, but I think human wise, I think, you know, God willing, as long as you can stay healthy and your family stays healthy, then I do think that there is another side to this. And I think that that's super encouraging what Jennifer just said, because to live through Katrina and see the other side has got to give you an incredible amount of wisdom to get through this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like that leads us into some of these discoveries that we're making here. So we're fighting through these challenges. We're connecting more than ever with our industry and other industries. I mean, we're just humans all together trying to get through this. So what discoveries have you guys been making? We can start with you, Sheila. What challenges, what techniques have you overcome?
I've actually been able to, you know, engage a lot more on social media. I've been able to grow my relationships with my customers. I really do feel, you know, we opened up personal shopping, and I really do feel that they trust me in my judgment and, you know, giving them what they need. And many of them have said they're going to come back. So, you know, that gives me confidence. And just being able to offer local deliveries. We've done that before, but we've done it even more now. So, you know, being able to offer things that are more accessible to our customers makes me feel at ease that, you know, our customers still there.
Do you feel like you're connecting on a deeper level with your customers through these conversations more than ever?
Definitely. Like I said, I do feel, you know, some of these relationships that were just on social media have grown into friendships. So right. I think that's.
How about you, Jennifer?
I think you really solidify some relationships, both with vendors. I mean, 99% of my vendors have been remarkable, and we've worked together and it's been awesome. And there's a few that I've learned, I don't need this aggravation. So you move on from there. So that's been a bit of a learning curve. But I do feel like the clients that have checked in on us, and yes, some to buy, but sometimes just checking on us, it gets you. It feels really good, and it's kind of puts things in perspective. So that's been really rewarding as well.
Definitely. And Bridget, I'm sure you're having a similar experience, better relationships with your customers.
Yeah, we, again, 11 years in the same market. And then Virginia is relatively new. That store was only just about a year old when this happened. But in both locations, the teams have really reached out. I've been able to keep core people on, which is terrific. It's been really important to me to keep paying my people. Really, really committed to doing that. So I agree with everything that Lynn said, and Sheila and Jennifer. I think it's the connection to the customer. We're doing personal shopping as well. And luckily I've had the same team here in Green Spring for many years, so they have existing relationships. So they already know the customers, they know the kids. So they're working the phones, they're working FaceTime, they're sending photographs. I mean, and it's a tremendous amount of work compared to, having somebody right in front of you to work a sale that way.
Yes.
But, people are really appreciative of it. They're, they want to spread some cheer and send something positive. If they can't see their grandchildren, being able to put together, a gift and send that, out to them and let them know they're thinking about them. It's nice to be a part of that. And they're appreciative that we're there to help them pull that off.
Right. What method has been most effective in terms of the personal shopping? Is it the video calls through FaceTime? Is it sending the photos? Because we have a question here. What does personal shopping look like? How are you offering and executing it? What's the best methods? What are you getting the best reaction from?
We've found FaceTime is difficult. It works best for us to speak to the customer first, get a, kind of crystallize what they're after. And then either we'll make a little vignette video for them. So we'll set a tabletop of ideas and we'll do a quick video, telling them about each product, and we'll text that to them. Or we have a rolling grid in the store. We'll literally outfit on the grid, just like you would at market, and photograph that and send that over. A lot of people are home with their kids and they're homeschooling. So when we're here texting, they may not be able to look at those pictures at that point. So it's nice, they can go back, they can go through the videos, they can go through the pictures. We laugh about it because, Dawn will get a text at 11 o'clock at night saying, here's all the ones that I like. And she'll say, okay, I'm in again tomorrow, I'll call you,
Right.
And from there, we'll keep adding on, right? So whatever they pick, we'll come back and say, okay, here's a great short to go with the 3 tops you picked. Even on web orders, we're doing add-ons. So if somebody bought all tops and didn't buy a bottom, we've got their cell phone number. So we'll call them and say, hey, you bought tops. Didn't know if you saw these couple shorts that went with. And that's actually been successful. I'd say, 6 out of 10 times we're adding to those web transactions by reaching out personally.
How about you, Jennifer? Do you have a similar experience with the live personal shopping?
Well, we have done some live video, but again, I have women's and children's. I have 2 stores that are now connected. And I have a lot of young moms, and you don't want to intrude on their time. So I have found personally, I kind of agree with Bridget. You have the conversation, you get an idea, and then that also gives me a moment to kind of walk around the store and think about what it is they're looking for. And I go ahead and have a whole package. I'll send them sometimes too many photographs and I try not to overwhelm, but just kind of say, hey, and you remember, you bought that tutu de monde dress last year. These just came in as well. So this will go with what you had previously. So it gives me that opportunity to sort of go back and look at purchase history, see what I can sort of expand on there as well. I wonder frequently how much of this will continue. I think we'll have a big surge of people wanting one-on-one, and my store is very tactile and very in-store experience. But I personally don't know if I want to go back to the grocery store and make big grocery shopping trips. It's much easier to have it delivered to my front door. Is this going to be a big, major part of my snapshot of my business going forward? I just don't know.
Right. Sheila, do you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In regards to how our business is going to be in the future.
Right.
Yes, I definitely feel customer behavior is going to change, at least when we first open up. I think customers will be less inclined to want to come in. We hold a lot of in-store events. I don't think anyone's going to want to do that right away. You know, summer is coming, or, you know, when we open, it will be close to summer, I think. And, you know, our city has a lot of tourism. So I don't see that happening right away. Conventions too. I don't think that's going to happen as much. So things that we used to rely on, I think, is definitely going to impact our business. So, you know, something that we've been working on even before the pandemic is, you know, pushing online sales. So, you know, we're just gonna have to think about how are we going to operate as a business, and, you know, what policies are gonna be needed to be put in place, such as, you know, sanitizing your store, how many customers are gonna be able to come in, do we require face masks, things like that.
Right. Another question just came in about personal shopping. If we go back to that a bit, somebody set personal shopping up via Instagram, but they only find that people are engaging that already had a personal relationship with them. How are you drumming up new business when it comes to personal shopping? How are you making those connections with customers that you didn't already have a relationship with?
I know I'm personally reaching out and having especially my younger girls or my girls that feel comfortable when the store's been cleaned to come in with their teenager or whoever and let them sort of run the shop for a minute and pick their favorites, and trying to reach some other audiences that way. We're also working with some of our neighbors. I mean, Magazine Street is sort of the quintessential Main Street. We're 6 miles of 80% locally owned businesses. So we're all kind of working together, promoting each other, trying to reach as many audiences as possible as well.
How about you, Bridget?
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I think I mentioned earlier we were building Easter baskets. That
Right.
opened up some new customers for us, I think, because we were offering a service that people needed. If you went on Amazon the 2 weeks before Easter, you got, you know, we had the harsh reality that Amazon isn't always just 100% there for you, right? You couldn't get a chocolate Easter bunny at, you know, certain times. So the ability to have an Easter basket built and try to make a new tradition, right? I mean, you've got kids that don't understand what's happening and they're used to having all of these things around Passover, around Easter, and all of a sudden they can't do them. And I think for parents who were adjusting to all these new things and homeschooling and thinking about an Easter basket slipped by them, and then they thought, oh God, I can't not have something there, you know, in the morning, or I can't have, you know, not send a gift for Passover. So that promoting that service opened us up to new people. What the next thing is that does that, we haven't figured out yet. We're still working on that one.
Right. We have another question that this is a good time to answer it. How are you paying your payroll, your rent, your bills? Any strategies there? What financial help have you received? Any government programs? I know this is kind of a personal question, but if anybody would like to weigh in on this, I think that our audience would find it really helpful.
I did receive I was very fortunate to get the payroll protection loan. It just came through this week. I don't know about my co-panelist.
I have received, what is it, the IEDL, the grant portion of SBA for employees, and that is all I have received across the board. I also wanted to ask everyone how they've dealt with insurance.
I mean, I can
I
speak
know,
to that.
sorry, Lynn.
Oh, we spoke to our insurance agent and he basically said this is an act of God. And so there's nothing to cover it, but he definitely encouraged us to make a claim. He said, you never know, sometimes things pay off. So we definitely made a claim with our insurance company because he said you might as well. And as far as we have not received any funding yet, we are super hopeful that in this next round it will happen. But the numbers in New York City for PPP loans was extremely low. And so of successful ones. So it was really unfortunate, but less than like 23% received loans from the grants from the PPP. But we're hoping that turns around with this next round. But it's been a very marginalizing experience for sure. So it's scary. We had to lay off a small portion of our staff in the very beginning, and everybody else we've been able to maintain. And, you know, we're hoping business will go back, you know, for back to school. I mean, everybody's cleaned out their kids' closets. Everybody knows what their kids need. So we're hoping that works in everybody's favor in Childrenswear. You know, thank you, Maria Kondo.
As far as us, we haven't received yet. We did receive a number, so we're just waiting for the underwriter to give us a call. As far as insurance, you know, honestly, I don't handle that part of it. My husband does, so I'm not sure about that one. As far as paying our employees, you know, we've been able to offer them their sick pay and paying them, you know, weekly until that runs out, and then we give them a couple hours a week, as much as we can. And we're hoping that when this funding comes through, you know, we'll really be able to bring them back on staff.
We have a lot of questions here that are coming in about merchandise that you didn't sell. How are you going to make room for next season? Does anyone want to take that question first?
Honestly,
well, I personally am busting at the seams. I have, we had a pop-up in Mississippi as well this year. So I have now 3 stores of sales still sitting in the back. And then new spring merchandise, which, I mean, we're about to die for the summer here anyway. So I'm kind of interested what people have to say about that too. I have not really made any decisions there. Ladies?
well, something that I tried out this week, you know, we got invited to do a virtual pop-up, and I have seen the sales come through. It's about 15 stores that joined in together. We posted at the same time, the same day on social media, offering the same discount code, offering anywhere between 20 to 30%, which will last for about a week. So I've definitely seen a return of investment in that one. And I have another one scheduled for the first week of May. So, you know, I'm very thankful that the sales are coming in, and I do feel there are people out there that want to support our small businesses. So I would definitely maybe recommend doing something like that.
Jennifer, how about you?
Me? Oh, well, that's what I was saying, that I'm sitting on a lot.
Right.
I have, you know, tried to offer to customers for something that I knew that they'd kind of looked at before or tried on, and obviously offering them some special discounts on that merchandise. And we have talked with some neighbors about doing a joint project, sort of like what you're talking about, Sheila. I like what you did. That's interesting.
Maybe hold a virtual sample sale,
Mm-hmm.
you know, something where I do feel when you collaborate with others, you know, in numbers, you can do some good things.
Yes.
We have another question. As a brand, what can we do from our end to help retailers now, and also once things get back to quote normal?
Like I said earlier, I have a list of everybody that was really good in understanding through this. And it's just so appreciated. I mean, we do need each other. It's a, symbiotic relationship. We can't have one without the other. So I was disappointed to see earlier today, I received an email from Playtime that won't be happening this year. So, it'll be them reaching out to us and us reaching out to our loved vendors and working together. And, when you've worked with somebody, say Oppaman for years and years and years, the product. So it's not such a scary endeavor to do it sight unseen, pretty much.
The other thing I think we're all going to be thinking about is margin. And, of course, that's going to happen on both sides of this conversation. But we're going to, there's no way around it's going to be a devastating season. We have to get rid of this inventory. It's not going to happen at full price. So I think from a retailer perspective, creative ways to get margin in fall, I think would be really beneficial to all.
Definitely. Somebody wants to know a little bit more about the virtual pop-up and how that's coordinated. Can we get some details on that?
Sure. Well, like I said, there's about maybe 15 stores that are offering about 20 to 30%. There is, there's someone who is coordinating everyone's, social media assets. So everything is broken down by, your IG posts, your IG stories, Facebook, and they just ask us to post the same caption, the same discount code, offering anywhere between 20 to 30%. And when we post each one, we tag each business so that people are easily able to jump from one store to the other and shop in their website.
Are they shopping off your Instagram, or is it directing them to your website?
Directing to our website.
Either way?
Yeah, either way, but most of them are directing to our website.
Was it all different businesses or was it all children's?
It's all different businesses, but for the most part, it's mostly children's. It's different designs and curated goods from apparel, accessories, books, stationery, toys.
Oh,
yeah, some that I can name are like Carolyn Suzuki, who's a stationery brand, Hello Shiso, which is accessories, Hadley Girl, Kira Kids. There are boutique stores like Myself, bookstores, and things like that.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking that maybe when the weather gets nicer, and although I'm sure things will get lifted, but maybe people won't want to come into stores, but maybe doing like sidewalk sales and things like that is in the open air, that might be more enticing to customers. And obviously by then the goods will be discounted anyway, because I think most people will probably start doing markdowns in June. And I'm sure most people are doing markdowns now, unfortunately, but it's, a way to maybe get more eyes on the product, if it's allowed.
I think that's a great idea. I think we're going to see a lot more open air and just any method that will give more space, more virtual ideas. And I think that will continue for a while. Kind of jumping back to the slide that we're on right now. Will this pandemic affect people's perspectives of non-essential businesses? We're kind of learning to live, quote, without them in a way, or in a different relationship to non-essential businesses. What's your take on that?
I definitely think at least for some time it won't be permanent, at least I hope. I definitely think, customers' needs will change in the beginning. It makes me think if I should, bring more essential type products like face masks, hand sanitizer. Do I bring those types of things in? So I've got some homework to do on that end.
We all do. Absolutely.
Yeah, I had similar concerns, I think, to Sheila about the face masks. I went back and forth with my team quite a bit, talking about whether or not that was, I certainly have no interest in capitalizing on what's happening with the idea of putting a 3-year-old in a mask, but ultimately I think that's going to be our reality. So we did write an order for masks. I'm curious how many other people went that route.
Yeah, actually, we have a poll here. I'll launch it now. Do the people watching carry masks? We're going to let people vote right now. You see that poll pop up on your screen. I'll keep it open for a few seconds and then we'll share the results. All right. I'm gonna
has anyone gotten a plan for how first days back in business look? I mean, we're kind of thinking that we're going to limit people by square footage. I don't know what other basis, unless there's some kind of command from the city of how many people can enter your doors. But obviously we're going to have sort of a clean station by the front door with hand sanitizer and that kind of stuff. But has anybody else sort of given that a thought to what that looks like?
Yeah, same. I definitely feel like there's going to be a limit of customers that can come in at a time. I may push online sales and do curbside pickup, but those orders would need to be, taken prior to coming and parking outside and waiting for the product. I would hate for, them to come curbside and say they need something and we're scrambling to put something together. So I think, just as we get more information about what requirements as a business we have, we'll have to, tackle it day by day.
Yeah, I think on our end, we're kind of hoping we can reopen to appointments first, get a sense of kind of what it's like to have people. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but our store has become a pick warehouse. It looks very little like what it did, when it was open to the public. So we've had conversations about, do we size out inventory, which I don't like the idea of, but, if you can't be right with your client, again, we're really hands-on. How do you make sure that they can maximize their transaction, find their product, and, cut down on that, kind of personal contact. So we've been having those kinds of conversations. How is the store organized when we reopen? So we kind of are hoping to have appointment sales in the beginning, one-on-one, that we can control and get a sense of how people are going to be comfortable shopping so we can make those modifications.
Absolutely. We have a lot of questions coming in right now, so we're going to actually skip to the next portion and just kind of take some more before our time runs out. Let's kind of keep talking with the audience who's chiming in here. I want to go back to Playtime. The Playtime show now is not a physical show. It'll be online. Would you consider buying from their platform virtually?
I plan on it. Absolutely. That's a big portion of my buy.
I would buy if I knew the line. I think it's very hard to buy virtually when you don't know the way a line fits, what the fabrics feel like. So that would be a challenge for me.
I would definitely, give it a look to see, but like Bridget was saying, I'm a touch feel type of buyer. I did see something that you guys offered where you would ship, am I wrong? Where you would ship some samples to retail stores. I would like to see that. Yeah. I'd be more interested in that route.
Right. Yeah. She's talking about Earnshaw's buyer box. So we have multiple brands sponsor the box, and we send out these curated samples to buyers across the country, and they get to keep the samples, and it has brand information, product descriptions all in the box for them. So that's definitely a route.
I think you were ahead of your time there, Emily.
Promise we're not psychic. We didn't see a pandemic coming.
Not the Simpsons, huh?
And we certainly do not want, yeah, exactly.
Well, I sadly don't think there's going to be a whole lot of new brands popping up this year going onto the Playtime platform. I hope there will be, but I think it's going to be things that we've seen and that are tried and true. But I agree with you ladies. I'm all about how it feels. I don't know how people shop without touching and seeing it themselves, but I think that's our reality, at least for another 6 months, I'm guessing.
Right. What types of products are you going to be bringing in? So now I feel like there's more of an emphasis on puzzles and games and, you know, more toys and things like that that maybe haven't, you know, sold as well in the past, and now people have a huge interest in it. Are you going to be changing your inventory to support that?
I definitely will be. Just, you know, listening to the other markets, I know that like beauty, self-care type of businesses are doing well in this pandemic. So that makes me think, do I carry more essential type products for children, such as, you know, like Mastella or, you know, baby care. Definitely, personally, we've been buying a lot of toys and just activities for my son. So I feel like we'll definitely be buying less clothing, unfortunately. We'll still be buying baby because that's the majority of our business, but definitely things that can entertain and keep your child busy.
How about you, Bridget? Same.
I agree.
You have on?
I think clothing that's practical, we're seeing on the web, our fleece shorts are still selling, things that you can lounge around the house in, things you can play outside in. I think that's the direction of the business. I think occasion is going to become, where are you going? So that's definitely a shift we're making for fall. I think price point is another message we're getting really clearly. People are going to be conscious about money for a time, and I think we have to hear that as an industry and react to it. Things over $50 on our website have been really, really slow, and I'm curious to hear if other people are having that same experience.
Well, I'm certainly sitting on a lot of Easter dresses, personally. So.
Too much. People want to know about Children's Club in September. They want to know if the retailers here plan on attending, if you typically would attend. I don't know if you know, I'm sure you do. The dates have been changed to September. So do you have plans on attending New York?
I made a hotel reservation, but I made sure I can cancel it.
Good thinking, Bridget. I have not made that decision yet.
Neither have we.
Okay.
If it's happening, we'll be there.
Excellent. As will Earnshaws. People also want to know about the masks, how much you typically are charging for the masks. Are you getting involved with any donations, charity work regarding masks? Anybody have a story around that?
I've just started shopping a few of them. I think I'll order a few really pretty ones that look like my store. But we haven't really discussed donating those, but we have been collecting from the neighborhood. I had bath bombs and things like that. So we've been making big boxes to send to hospitals for the nurses and the doctors, because Lord knows they need any relaxation and pampering they can get. So that's all we have done in that respect.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I think similar to what Jennifer's saying, we looked for a line that we thought, again, if you've got to put a mask on a kid, at least it's good quality and it's something kind of cute and whimsical and fun. And I think being a parent, you have to get buy-in from them. So, you know, if they think it's cute, maybe it might be a little easier to convince them to wear it. We have not done anything with the mask specifically, but again, similar to Jennifer, we have participated. There's a couple really great programs in Baltimore, restaurants that are doing pre-packed dinners and lunches for first responders. So you can support the restaurant, which is a local business, by buying, you know, X amount of these lunches, and then they deliver them to the hospitals. So we've been participating in that and promoting that to our clients as well, to, you know, kind of pay it forward as best we can.
We have not yet. We have been testing some mask designs, as well as shopping around through other brands. So we're just figuring out which route to go in that regards. Something that I haven't done yet, but I have seen some of my other shop friends do, is offering care packages to families who have been affected by COVID. So I thought that was a really good idea, and that might be an idea that, you know, we could also do.
Someone wants to know, how can manufacturers help out during that time? How can your manufacturers help you? More advice on that. And maybe Lynn can weigh in here about what Apoman's doing to help their retailers. I know we've touched on this already, but, you know, more specific examples.
I mean, we're definitely happy to speak with anybody that needs, you know, we're working with our accounts on discounts and pushing back delivery orders. And if anybody needs to adjust their fall buys, I mean, we will figure this out. I mean, when we placed our back to school orders, we were already into this. And so we adjusted those POs accordingly, knowing that there would be some fallout and reduction in orders. And so, listen, as I said before, it's all about communication. Call us. We're happy to work with you. And I'm sure you'll find that many manufacturers feel the same way. Everybody wants this industry to thrive, and it's got to happen with communication and cooperation.
For me personally, I did, one of our brands offered net 45 terms, which I thought was helpful. You know, it's something, and it is one of our best-selling brands. So we took a jump on that one.
I would agree with Sheila. You know, and having been a buyer through the recession in a different industry, terms became an issue then. You know, factors are going to become an issue. I think many people may come through this initially, but then the effort to recapitalize and keep running their businesses can prove fatal. So factors get nervous about extending terms. I think if you're carrying your own paper and you're able to do that with people you feel good with, that will definitely be beneficial to us as retailers. Spread out our resources a little bit.
For the retailers, this is kind of a personal question, but what percentage of your fall orders are you cutting back on? If anybody wants to.
I contacted pretty much everyone and said, what can we work out? What does this look like? And I kind of went through individually, and if I wasn't 100% in love, it just had to go. It's going to be a skinny season, but I think it's going to be a skinny season regardless. So I reduced, I would say 50%.
We're still working through that. I think, you know, similar thoughts about, we traditionally, because we had so much history in our business, would buy deeper into things we felt really good about. That's a practice we have to really abandon, because the other thing we have to think about is this could happen again, right? We could get everything open and we could get back up and running, and September could come around and they could shut everything down again. And we can't be sitting in the inventory position we're sitting in today if that happens again. So I think for us, going back to buying like a new business, you know, doing smaller upfront orders and reacting and chasing to things that work, you know, is a change that we're intending to make on our fall orders.
Are you, oh, go ahead.
Well, for us personally, I don't think I had mentioned this yet, but last year we did have a second location in Costa Mesa. So we had to shut that down. It was just a year lease, but it just wasn't working out for us. So before the pandemic we had already been working with the SBDC. So one of our goals for fall was to really narrow down what we're buying and putting ourselves in a really strict budget. So for fall, we've already, you know, we aren't buying more than what we need. And I think there's only one brand that we had to cut back on right now.
Are you finding that you're relying more on online platforms like New Order, Brand Boom? Have you always used one of these? Are you looking into using it more than, or relying on that more than shows or regional markets?
I think clearly the next few months we will be depending on those platforms.
Is there one that you favor more so?
Well, it really is determined by who my vendors are with. I don't find myself doing a lot of shopping for a new line there because, like I mentioned earlier, I really have to see the product to have the confidence to pull the trigger on that. So I don't see picking up new lines that way.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's a great tool for writing orders for lines that we have existing relationships with. Some are better than others in terms of functionality, but they all essentially get the work done, right? You can get your order in and submit it and get a copy emailed to you. But I feel the same way. I wouldn't be able to prospect new product that way.
When you're looking for new product, obviously you still want something fresh. You're going to rely on the brands that you know, but for the newness that you will be bringing in, will you be looking directly at vendor websites? Will you be finding this on Instagram? People are asking many variations of this question of where you're going to be searching for product.
Something that I had started to think about even before the pandemic is I wanted to stop guessing what my customers wanted. And I wanted to start doing either, you know, focus groups or just reaching directly to my customers, which I have already started doing. And my customers are very, you know, open to letting me know what they want to see in our store. So I think just going directly to them, maybe holding a poll, asking what brands they want to see, what type of products they want to see, is something I'm going to try going forward.
Yeah, I'm as I'm listening to Sheila, I'm almost wondering about in the fall with those of us who've gotten online presence up that did not have one before, you know, working with our vendors to almost pre-sell product, which happens I think often in the women's market, to put things up ahead as a pre-sale and then, you know, fill those orders directly from the vendor so you're not carrying inventory is another trick we might be able to use to get more product out the door without as much upfront investment.
Someone asked, would stores prefer brands to have their own e-commerce wholesale website on Shopify or something similar? Would you be interested in working with that?
I think I like having a platform like Brand Boom or Jour, where it's all there for you so that I don't have to jump from website to website. I think I would prefer that.
Agreed.
Okay, good to know. All right, we're almost out of time here, so I want to give a little bit of time for, you know, some final remarks, final comments from each of you about anything that we might have missed or any perspective that you have on the situation as a retailer that you think our audience should know.
I just think, you know, let's stay positive, put out positive things out there. I think when you sell hope, you know, show hope, motivation. You know, I've done my windows and done a tribute to all of our frontliners, you know, that just puts some motivation out there that we're going to get through this. You know, just putting out negativity and, you know, feeling sorry for yourself or not feeling sorry for yourself, but just feeling down all the time. And it's okay to, but I just think let's turn it around and let's just spread some cheer and hope.
How do you keep positive, Sheila? What are some trips on a personal level? Like, how are you keeping positive every day?
You know, I just have a vision that, when you create an atmosphere, a positive atmosphere, people are going to be more drawn to you. They'll trust you. And with trust, people will follow. My son, my family, just being strong for them and for myself are some things that I try to remind myself every day.
Absolutely. I mean, health and family first, right? For all of us. Jennifer, how about you?
Well, I'm sort of in the mindset that, failure is not really an option here. I've got to make this work no matter what the changes may be. And I'm not really great with change, but I got to get over myself and persevere. I will say, I think I spoke to you, Emily, and said, I have to let you guys know that in the women's business, they have offered, some webinars, and they'll give you some cheerleading, maybe some pointers, a list of contacts or something, but there's not the same outreach and support as there is in the children's business. And I think that's innate to the business, that we're a little warmer and fuzzier. I mean, we cater to kids. We cater to cute little humans. And that makes me happy and smile, and it feels good to watch them be happy and smile. So we're all doing something right, but we just have to support each other and continue all of this positiveness. Thank you, Lynn and Oppaman. You have a great business. And Emily, you and Noelle are the best. I thank you so much for letting me participate today. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. And Bridget, we want to hear from you as well.
I think for me, what I've said my entire business career, in the immortal words of Ross from Friends, right? Pivot, right? What's the pivot? Find the solution. I think the business is going to change, but it's changed before, never in the same catalyst. But I think you're right. We have to stay positive. We have to soldier on. Find our partners and figure out what this looks like. I've been really fortunate. I have a wonderful team of people, and that's what keeps me positive all the time and reminds me why I get out of bed. And I want to make sure that We Chic is here and that they all have a job and that we can continue to move forward together and do something cool in the world. And I'm excited to hopefully see everybody again soon at a trade show, hopefully not wearing masks down the road somewhere.
At least some cute masks, maybe. We're not capable of that. Definitely. And then thank you so much, Lynn, from Appaman, for sponsoring this and bringing us all together. I feel like, as Jennifer said, the children's industry, out of all the industries, I mean, we're the ones that are going to survive and thrive together. We are always one unit, one family, and that's exactly what you need at this moment.
Thank you, Lynn.
Sure. I'm so happy everybody came. It was really inspiring.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. And if you have any questions, my email's on the screen right now. You're welcome to email me. I can connect you with any of the panelists or Lynn for further information. We're also going to be rolling out more live events. We have the magazine coming up, digital newsletter, and social media posts that I'm constantly sharing different retailers and the innovations that they're coming up with. So if you want to be one of those retailers, definitely reach out. But thank you all for joining us, and stay healthy, stay safe, spend time with your family, and we look forward to seeing you in market.
Thanks, Emily.
Bye, everybody.